Hey, all you cool ghouls and witches.
Oh, that's me.
It's your favorite wicked witch of the Midwest here.
Me?
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
I've been off perfecting various poisons and cursing gremlins.
Oh.
Yeah. Welcome to the Poison Tea Party. I'm your host, Kaylee, and today we're going to jump right into this episode. I know that this story is going to get all of your little hairs into a little bunch.
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus.
I don't need my hairs into a bunch, thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
She's going to make me mad.
We are going to dive deep into a prolific, unsolved murder mystery.
Okay,
Jesus.
girl. First of all, though, can we just wait a second and talk about the pyramid that's happening on the Poison Tea Party table right now? And I wonder if Trask can even see Kaylee.
We were like this. Did you
Yeah.
see that?
Okay.
During that? I made eye
saw
contact.
you guys like sort of looking, but I cannot tell if you can see each other from the size of this pyramid.
Listen
if
here.
this part continues, I won't be able
No,
to
but
see
listen.
her.
Let me just tell you this. If there's a will between my Aunt Tracy and I, there's a way.
Oh, there's a way.
And we will figure it out. As I was
I never
reading...
doubted the will for a second.
No, don't do that. As I was reading this, we were both like this, and I still was making solid eye contact.
And also, I can't help but
Gotcha.
notice that you have a slideshow for us tonight.
Yeah. So I feel like I kind of fucked up here.
Why?
Because this would have been a perfect episode for
The corkboard?
a corkboard.
Oh, no.
murder
This is
board.
great. This is
But-
great. We've never had a PowerPoint
I did-
presentation before.
I did make
I'm
a PowerPoint.
excited.
So, and also, I just want to say the pyramid is iconic because I don't know if you could tell in my intro how much I've drank to read this episode.
We're gonna try it out.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna see what
attempt.
happens.
We're gonna attempt this murder right now.
Yeah. We might have to refilm.
We might have to refilm.
Re-record, I should say. Here we go. So, the presentation starts like this.
Okay.
Burger chef.
All right.
Blood splattered. How does that make you guys feel when you see this image?
Murdery.
that I already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if anybody hasn't heard of the Burger Chef murders, then you've been living
I don't
want
want
to
to be your friend.
That's right.
But you know what? I will say this. When you look up, like, just stories of unsolved murder mysteries and shit, this isn't a case that comes up. You kind of have to search for it, or you have to be a crime enthusiast to be looking for it.
It's kind of one that if you're into the whole true crime field, the murder
Yep.
scene,
You'll find
as
it.
we are, and
That's me.
as we tend to
Yeah.
be around here,
That's
around
me.
these parts, then Burger Chef is kind of a staple in that because
Yeah.
this is it. Like you said, did you say this is an
Prolific.
unsolved?
Yep.
Yeah.
Unsolved murder
Did I say?
mystery.
Okay.
No, you're correct.
I don't want to spoil it, but it is
No.
unsolved.
Spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
I said-
Unsolved.
And if y'all listen to Circleville and you think you can fucking solve it all, well, pay
Here we
attention,
go.
class.
Because this fucking story, let me tell you, this is like a fucking warning right now. This story, it's gonna sound very sporadic and all over the place, but it's not because I didn't do my research or some shit like that. It's just this case is so all over the place. I'm gonna start with the hardcore evidence that we know and we have,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna go into theories, and those theories I'm gonna bring up evidence that I may not have talked about, and that's just evidence that they actually found at the crime scene, right?
Wonderful.
So I'm limiting it to the theories so that it makes sense as far as the story goes.
Perfect.
Get into it.
Let's do it.
So let's go. Let's set the scene.
All
All right. It's 1978 in Speedway, Indiana. Staying Alive was America's top hit on Billboard 100. Fashion was on the brink of the infamous 80s bold colors, daring designs, along with mixing and matching different materials.
My motherfucking favorite.
Yeah. Grease was the highest grossing film during this year, and the kids loved it.
We
love
all
it.
loved it.
Hell fucking yeah, we
Yeah.
still love it to this day.
Absolutely. It's iconic.
The 70s were cool, fun, but also a decade with a significant amount of unsolved murders.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Stop it with the X-Files.
Sorry. Okay. So, this story takes place at a burger chef in Speedway, Indiana.
Okay.
Burger Chef was founded in 1954. So,
Oh, wow.
Have you ever ate at a burger chef?
no, but
Neither have
supposedly
I. Have you ever seen one?
No.
no,
don't
because
think I have
they're
either.
not around anymore.
Oh, they're not around anymore.
So it was founded in 1954, right? And this chain of fast food restaurants became extremely popular. And the only other restaurant, a fast food chain that surpassed it in number of locations was McDonald's,
Wow.
which is like crazy to think about
Yeah.
because they're not around today.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
So it's Friday, November 17th, 1978, right? So it's a Friday night at the local Hop and Burger Chef
Okay.
at Speedway. And Speedway's like a really big place at this time, right? Because you got the racetracks, and then in the 70s,
I mean,
kids-
with a name like Speedway.
fuck yeah. And the kids love to go there. I mean,
wanna
there
go
was a
there.
quote about from one of the people in this that we'll talk about later, but he said it was all tits and ass, drugs and alcohol. That's
Well,
all he
yeah.
said.
Oh, wow.
And that's all you need.
And I was like, well, I mean, valid. I would want to go to Speedway too. Sounds like a good time, right?
Sounds like a great time.
And you could go there when you're a kid, a teenager.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Tits and ass.
Tits and ass,
You know
And then
what
he goes-
I like about high school girls?
tits and ass. No, but then there's weed and alcohol also.
Oh, yeah. Weed and alcohol.
solid.
Well, that's where I'm going.
I'm just setting the scene for you guys. This location is very popular, right?
Yeah.
You got a lot of kids coming in from all over, and not even just kids, adults, people from all different backgrounds. This night, on a Friday night, so just imagine that, it's a weekend. It's going to be even more
Hopping.
hopping, right? 4 kids are left to close down the restaurant like any other day.
Yeah.
This
Completely normal.
and this still happens today.
It happened when I was a teenager.
Yeah, like
Yep.
this isn't outrageous. This isn't weird. I worked at restaurants where I would close with a bunch of teenagers, and it was fun as fuck. You know,
Yeah.
those were the best nights.
Same.
But here's where the story takes a turn. These 4 kids would go missing, along with $581. And I think when I looked this up, it was equivalent to $2,000 around that today. Yeah. And just remember that, because the Speedway police believed it was just petty theft by the workers. They thought that they stole the money so that they could go partying that night. And even though they saw and wrote it down in their fucking little crime books, the women's jackets and the purses were all left behind. The other thing that was interesting about the crime scene was not only was there cash that was taken, but all the coins were left. So all the coins were left in the registers and in the safe.
Which arguably might be the reason for the theory behind they just took the cash
Just the
and left.
cash.
And took the cash and left, right?
Yeah.
Speedway police completely fucking fucked this case up this very night, because they cleaned up the whole restaurant after finding all of this and opened it the very next day for breakfast.
They didn't process the scene.
Nope.
Did they do with fingerprints or anything?
No, because they
They-
thought that the kids just took the shit and ran.
Yeah. They cleaned the entire restaurant and they just fucking opened it the next day. So even if they took fingerprints later on, people were already in
And out.
days
and everywhere.
after. So
Wow.
2 days later, all 4 bodies would be found in rural Johnston County, Indiana. So this is only like a couple miles away from
And then they're like,
Speedway.
oh, fuck.
Yeah. And it was found just by like a person that was walking, taking a hike in the woods. These bodies, they were found murdered. It wasn't, they were just laying there.
So 4 people
All 4 of them?
were
Yeah.
murdered.
Oh, my God.
So we're going to get into it here. Ruth Shelton was 17 at the time, and Daniel Davis was only 16, were shot in the face,
Ugh.
but they were laying down. So it was like back of the head,
So
exited.
execution style.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what it was, quote unquote, execution style, as lead investigator stated.
Mhm.
They think they were told to lay down at some point before being killed so that they could shoot him just right in the head, because the exit wounds are through the face.
Ugh, poor babies.
Jane Frett was 20 years old, and she was the manager at the Burger Chef at this point, so she was just like that assistant manager at the end,
Right.
the night shift. Was stabbed twice in the chest The interesting thing about this is the blade was left in the chest, but the handle was missing.
Broken off.
It had broken off, and they, to this day, have never found the handle. Mark Flemons, 16, and I also feel like, I hate to do this, but I feel like it's important to this case. He was a black male. He was only 16 years old, was beaten to death. Yeah. He died from choking on his own blood. The police thought that he died from a broken nose.
That's fucking awful.
So, like, we don't know for sure that he did die from a broken nose.
But that's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, this is just what police thought at the time.
Well, we also know that they were like, nah, the kid stole the money and ran away, so it's fine.
So a lot of the reason that I go back throughout these theories and kind of counteract what police are saying is because that's a common theme throughout this entire case. From the very beginning, they fuck it up. So every theory they come up with, the police, there's something to debunk it in some kind of way.
Okay.
This part was crazy. So the Speedway officers would later come back to the restaurant after the bodies were found.
Okay.
This was like a day or two later. And would restage the crime scene. They would take photos of the crime scene and claim they were taken the same night of the crime. Yeah.
No.
No. Wow.
No.
What, to cover their own asses?
Yeah. Yep.
Or to...
Yep.
Yeah.
Both.
Yep.
But mostly to cover their own asses.
So
ridiculous.
Here, that was the core evidence, right? So that's our base. Now we're gonna go. This is an unsolved mystery. We don't know. Nobody's been charged. It's been 40 years later. We still have no fucking person of interest at this point. Like, everyone's been fucking debunked. So we're just gonna get into the theories now.
Wait a minute. 4 people are killed.
Yep.
So
they're kids.
You have to 4 people. It's more than one person that did this crime.
Just like,
yep.
Not one person can
how
take
many,
on 4 people.
How many? One person isn't going to be able to control 4 people.
Oh,
they're not going to be able to.
No. And when you look up this crime, it'll say online, like any kind of news source, it'll say police believe more than 2 or more suspects involved. So, like, it never says that there's just one. But
I think there's got to be more than 2.
I just think there's more than 2.
If it's me and I'm working at Burger Chef,
fuck yeah,
and 2 people come in to rob us blind or whatever, and then take us out to some unknown fucking destination and gonna kill us, I'm acting a fucking fool from the start.
Hell yeah.
I am not gonna be letting them take me anywhere.
Since how old was I when I started telling you that if somebody abducted me, I was going to act like I was insane?
Crazy.
Like, I would get in the back car and be like,
crazy person.
Like, well, bitch, don't abduct
to catch
me.
them all, because, like, so here's me, okay? Say I'm one of those ladies.
I'm gonna be cool for a minute, but
and
I'm not
my sister
gonna.
is the other crazy lady there.
Yeah.
Let's just hypothetically, okay? Hypothetically, my sister is gonna look at me as soon as she realizes something is wrong, and she is going to create an absolute
I'm gonna go psycho.
fucking diversion, and I'm gonna duck out the back.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to fucking find somebody.
And somebody's going to get help, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
So there's got to be multiple, because, you know, you're closing a restaurant, so they're not just all in one area. They're spread out.
I just want to say, from
we've all worked nights here at a restaurant.
Exactly.
In a restaurant, yeah. So we all know how closing
and
works.
These events would have happened from like 11 o'clock to midnight. It would have been like a very short window. So Daniel Davis, he's 16 years old at the time of this murder. So he looks like a baby. And
he does look like
he
a
really
baby.
does.
Oh, so then next to him is Ruth Shelton. She was 17 and she was only 30 days away from turning 18. Ugh. And the thing that is so sad about her case, there's an interview with her sister and she reads like a little thing that she wrote in her journal, Ruth did. And it's talking about how excited she is to turn 18. And when she was killed, she was only 30 days away from turning 18. And her mom had wrote in the journal after the whole death, but she was like, never lived to see the day 18. I love and miss you so much. Like, so sad. Next to Ruth is Mark Flemons. He was only 16 when this happened too. Just a baby. We're going to talk a little bit more about him because I feel like it resonates the most with me. It's just, I feel like it has a lot more heaviness to it just because of the profiling done with
and
his
he
race.
was beat to death, you said. So that's fucked
It's
up.
just heavier.
That's psychotic.
Next, this is a girl you're going to want to remember. Jane Frett comes up a lot. She was 20 years old. She's the manager there. She works a lot of night shifts, but she comes up a lot throughout this story in this case, and she has a very important story throughout it, and a lot of people feel like this murder was because of her.
Was she involved in some drugs? Yeah.
Yeah, girl.
The first theory we're going to talk about is the robber gang theory.
Okay.
So during this time when this murder took place, the police really went all out with the sketches. These are very professional, right? Mm-hmm. They released them to the public. They also put out some clay sculptures, but they went all out with who the suspects were and like this is what they look like. But they weren't doing a lot to solve the crime. They weren't investigating as far as when the crime scene happened. Mm-hmm. They weren't talking to people. There was multiple witnesses that came forward over the years.
How did we get to these sketches, though? Like, where does that come into play?
Yeah, so let's get into it. The robber gang theory goes as follows. There was a crew of 5 men robbing burger chefs and Kentucky Fried Chickens across Indiana during this time.
Oh my
5?
fucking God.
Yeah, so
Okay.
This is a 5-man crew.
they
Which
were...
would make sense.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
So they were from Johnston County, which is where these bodies were found. And that was only a couple miles away, as I stated earlier.
Here's my question. Had they murdered anyone else up to this point?
They had never murdered anyone else. So
Okay.
that's kind of like a debunk in this story, right?
Okay. Yes.
And it said that they would often rotate through different guys. So like they would only send like 3 guys to go rob a
What is
different
this, like
location.
a train robber?
Yeah, like it was crazy.
So there was a group of
Wild
guys.
West?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wild West.
So now we're gonna kind of like go back a little bit.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about Kirk Thompson. This was a friend of Mark. If we don't remember
and
who
he was the
Mark is our,
black kid that was killed.
and he was 16 at the time.
Okay.
So Mark went to school with him in the same grade. They were the same age, roughly. And Mark talks about how there weren't many black kids at their school. So often, all the black kids stuck together. So I didn't put a picture of Kirk Thompson on here, but this guy is super cool. I watched him in a documentary talk. He's super just, this guy's funny as fuck. He's just, immediately he opens up with saying, the Speedway police officers fumbled this case so bad.
Okay.
Like, that's what he starts with. So he's very aware of the situation. He knows a lot about it. But Kirk Thompson went on to talk about and give a testimony about how him and Mark had plans to go to the Galaxy that night. Okay?
Okay.
The Galaxy was like this underage cool dancing club for the kids to go
I used to go to those.
Yeah, we used to
Yep.
have those. I don't think they do them anymore, but
No.
we used to.
Yep.
He recounts how Mark was extremely excited to go. Like, this was a fun thing. This was a big thing, right? So he went to the restaurant, Kirk did, later in the evening.
Okay.
He goes to Burger Chef because by 11, they're supposed to be closed.
Yeah.
So he went to the restaurant. When he gets there, he sees that the back door is kind of propped open. But he sees that...
He's probably there right when all that shit's happening.
So he sees that the lights on the outside, the Burger Chef sign, like the lights on the building, they're all turned off. But the inside lights, so what's in the restaurant, are turned on. So he's thinking, as any kid would, like, they're still, like, cleaning up shit. Like, they're still shutting it down.
Yeah.
So he approaches the side building. So that door's propped open, he says. He walks over to the door and he's like calling their names. He's saying, Jane, Mark, he's calling all of their names. He knows who's working. Mark's talked to him about it. It's just normal shit. Like, they're kids.
Yeah.
When he's doing that, there's no response. And Kirk, at that time, he's like, fuck, they're trying to scare me. I'm not staying here. Fuck them. And he walks home.
Oh.
So that's our first...
First of all, that saved his life.
Yeah, it did. And it's our first, like, eyewitness testimony for this
Of what
entire
really
situation.
happened.
So, another key witness in this case is Mary Rhines. She was 16 years old, and her witness testimony is going to come in multiple times throughout multiple theories.
Okay.
She was only 16 years old. She worked right next to the burger chef at the Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
So she's going to get, like, full view of that back door.
Wow, Dunkin' Donuts was around.
I know, isn't that crazy? I didn't know
Dunkin'.
that. So Mary's story goes as follows. She was off a little early this night. She had helped close down the store, blah, blah, blah. Her coworkers are leaving, etc. She called her dad and she's like, hey, I'm off early. I'm going to go wait for you outside. Well, she also called her boyfriend George. Okay, Georgie boy.
Georgie boy.
She called him to come hang out because it's going to take her dad a minute to get there. And you know what? What else do you do in the 70s besides smoke a joint and get drunk?
Before your daddy picks you up?
Never. So,
Multiple times.
George shows up. All right.
Okay.
And George is like, fuck, we don't have matches. I mean, how could you forget a lighter or a match for this fucking joint that you're so pumped to smoke? But anywho, George needed matches. What does he notice? The back door of Burger Chef is propped open. So George walks over there and he starts talking to some of the kids that are in the Burger Chef, closing it down. At
What
this
time
point,
was this?
He's talking to them?
yes,
Like directly?
yes.
Okay.
At 11?
This was like right at 10:45-ish.
Okay, so we're
So-
talking like moments before
Yeah.
the other kid gets
Yeah.
there. Okay.
It gets even crazier.
Okay.
So he goes in there. He's talking to the kids. It's suspected that he talked to Mark, but he hasn't like said exactly, but they think that he talked to Mark about, I need some matches, you got any? And then Mark gave him some. Okay. After he got these matches, he walked back over to Mary, and they start to like light up this joint, and they're smoking. All of a sudden, two men come next to them. They walk up. The kids, Mary and George, were scared that the guys smelled their weed. They're underage
Well,
kids.
yeah,
they're
'cause they
smoking
were,
weed
like-
outside.
So these look like adults.
Yes, they're adult men.
Okay.
So Mary says that one of the guys says, you kids need to get out of here because there's been a lot of vandalism going on. And
you know what I'd say? I don't give a fuck about
Right?
vandalism, mister.
But also, it's kind of eerie. Mary goes on to say one of the men was a tall man. She says about 6', 6'2". And the other man was short, about 5'8", and he has the big beard. This is where our sketches come in. So this is the tall man, and this is our short man. Okay? So this is like the eyewitness that we're talking about.
The Dunkin' Donuts girl.
Yes.
Okay.
But because of her statement, this is where we get the sketches. S.W. Wilkins was a man that was said to be involved with the robber gangs that were going around Indiana at this time.
Train robbing gangs.
He was going around committing a bunch of armed robberies. So it's important to note that just because he has they did have guns. They didn't ever kill anyone up until this point, though.
That we don't-
Allegedly.
I mean, we don't
Allegedly.
even know that
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And detectives thought that S.W. Wilkins looked similar to the man with the beard. Jane Frett, which is the manager,
Yep.
she worked at a Burger Chef in Avon, Indiana, a couple years prior. And Wilkins worked in that same town, Avon, on the railroad in Indiana.
Okay.
So police and people just theorizing on the internet believed that when they were trying to rob the Burger Chef, Jane recognized S.W. Wilkins, and it caused a whole problem. Then there was another man, Greg Stanky.
Oh, he's
Loves
stanky.
Stanky. Both men lived close to the Burger Chef in Jefferson County. That's where the bodies would be found. It was common for this robbery crew to steal an employee's car, which at this crime scene, Jane's car was moved at
How
the
do we
crime
know
scene.
that it was moved?
So the night, like the next couple days when they're coming in and they're investigating, Jane's car was found, this is crazy, across the road from the Speedway Police Department.
Okay.
So it's believed that at some point during this robbery, this night, whenever the fuck something happened, that whoever did it moved her car.
Or they attempted to use her car to move them.
Yeah.
Okay.
They think that they either moved something, they moved them, and then parked it to leave it at the scene.
Can I ask you a question you might not have the answer to? So where was the burger chef in relation to the police department? To know how far
It's not
away it was.
far. I know
Okay.
that it's not far. It's in
Okay.
the same county. So
Okay.
we're still talking Speedway.
Yeah.
It's only like a couple blocks. The importance of that situation is that the robber gang that was robbing burger chefs and Kentucky Fried Chickens in Indiana at that time were also known to steal employees' cars.
Okay. That tracks.
So that's kind of why they connected the two.
Okay.
The only other thing that we know, the evidence that we have with the car, as far as like how it's moving, is her keys were found in her pocket at the crime scene.
Oh.
So in her pant pocket.
Right.
Nothing. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense.
So somebody, people who killed her would have had to move the car and then put it
back in her pocket.
That's what I think.
Or made her move the car.
And she just naturally
and then put him back in her pocket. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
So I have switched the slideshow. This man he goes by.
Sorry if you can hear our dog breathing in the back.
God.
His name is Oni Kerploni.
Yeah, that boy's name is Odin Perplodin. This man on our slideshow, Don Forrester.
Don Juan Valdez.
The lead investigator on the Burger Chef case for like the past 40 years, he retired.
Okay.
He said that Don Forrester was a bad guy. So, let's talk about Don Forrester.
He looks kind of harmless and kind of nice.
Right.
In his picture.
We're going to just talk about it. He wanted to talk to police about this case in the 80s. Okay? So, we're talking few years after it happened.
10 years later.
Mm-hmm. He told them who was shot, who was laying next to each other. He explained the entire crime scene, okay?
Okay.
He mapped it out word for word. He knew exactly what happened at the crime scene. He was in jail already during this interview, serving a 99-year sentence for rape.
But
So
the picture of him is not doing justice to his true character.
No, but how does one get 99 years for rape?
That's my...
In 1970.
Because nowadays you
1978.
can't get fucking 6 years for rape.
Exactly.
Right.
You get probation.
Okay, so...
I didn't do research on him. I didn't look up the details of the crime. All I know is that he was serving a 99-year sentence for rape in 1978. And at the time that he spoke with cops about this case in the 80s, he had already served a 10-year sentence for that crime that we're talking about.
So he was already in jail?
Yes, he was already in jail. So Jane Frett, the
manager at Burger Chef,
was supposedly in debt. $15,000 in debt.
She's 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if she was on drugs, then...
It was supposedly by Mr. fucking Don over here. She was $15,000 in debt for cocaine.
Okay.
It's a hell of a drug.
It's a hell of a drug.
When the Burger Chef murders happened, Don Forrester wasn't in jail for that rape crime yet. So he was out, like...
So it's plausible that she could owe him this money.
And it wasn't him necessarily. He was a collector, if you will.
He's going to be the front guy, right?
Yeah. So he's working for a group, okay, of drug mules. Mm-hmm. He knows that Jane owes money. He is a collector. So he's going to be that interrogator person, kind of like a cop. He's going to play bad guy right away, though. Mm-hmm. Because at this point, if you're $15,000 in debt, you're really far gone. That's a long time to let someone live, I'm just going to say.
That's a lot of money.
He is on interview with the cops of Speedway, Indiana, stating that he went to the Burger Chef that night to kill her. That enough should be a fucking case, right?
Yeah.
No. Don Forrester states Jane's brother. I feel he looks very similar to this guy.
Okay.
The bearded dude.
Yes.
The bearded guy from the very first sketch that we had. The good sketches.
Yes. And even in the
There's
documentaries.
No way your brother has anything to do with this.
You'd be surprised. Even in this documentary...
Just because we love our brother and we're close to
Yeah.
our brother doesn't mean that everybody's close to their brother.
There's no fucking way.
Jane's brother, his name was Jimmy or James Fret, and he was often involved with drug gangs around Indiana at that time and the law. Forrester said everyone was armed and high. Now, when I talk about everyone, I'm going to get into more details here. He talks about how there are two men that come there in a red car. He's in this van with another man. Okay? And they're sitting at the burger chef.
Outside the burger chef.
Yep. And
Okay.
they're, from my understanding, Don Forrester was waiting for a headlight flash from the red car, like a beep beep,
Yep.
to enter the building and approach Jane for the money. Forrester said his initial role in this entire scheme was to be lookout. He says that he was supposed to go over by that railroad. Okay, let's take us back on this side where the Dunkin'
So in between
Donuts
the Dunkin'
is.
Donuts and the Burger
Mhm.
Chef. So he was to be positioned between the Dunkin' and the Burger Chef to be the lookout.
So he says.
Yes.
Okay.
He said that he kind of like continued to make eye contact with Jane throughout the night. He could tell she was frightened, which it's hard to say these accounts are real or not because yes, you would be frightened.
Just to clarify, we are talking about $15,000 or are we talking about $1,500?
$15,000. 1978. So it's a lot of money.
That is psychotic. That is a psychotic.
She snorts a lot of cocaine.
She's having a Studio 54 in her fucking bedroom every
Absolutely.
fucking night for like 6 years on that.
She's probably got an 8-ball a night at that point.
How much does an 8-ball cost in fucking 1974?
I don't know. Let's
Right.
ask Google. Hey, Google.
1978.
1978. Google will know this.
Hey, Google. How much does an 8-ball of cocaine cost in 1978? Price per gram, hold on, cost of an 8-ball is 3.5 grams. Conservative 1979 price is $125 to $200 per gram. So that's $600 per 8-ball. That would make sense. So it's $600 roughly per 8-ball.
We're talking about $15,000.
Jimmy Fret, her brother, was a drug
Well, this makes me
person.
mad if you say that because then her brother is the one with the habit and she's
And
the one that's
Let's
like...
talk about Don Forrester.
Okay.
Don Forrester also said in that same interview with the cops that Jimmy or James Free didn't want anything to do with Jane's debt. Like, when they came and approached Jimmy about it, he was like, if that's my sister's debt, that's on her. I'm not dealing with that. That's not my job. You know, he wasn't going to help pay for anything. I also wanted to go back and talk a little bit about the van, because this is going to come up again. So the van, there's a lot of key witnesses who says, do you know how I said how there was a red car
And a blue van.
and a blue van?
In a blue van.
Okay. This blue van, allegedly, would also be known as yellow, orange, a Ford, and a Chevy. So, like, this van
Literally everything.
would change so
Anything.
much throughout theories and accounts
Really?
and witnesses. So, Don Forrester's the lookout man, right? He was supposed to go stand by the railroad tracks. This could be tied to Mary's account, maybe, possibly, of the bearded man. Because he says in his interview that he can't go over to the railroad tracks or stand there on lookout because there's people over there. So this is what he says happened. He says that he's about to go approach Jane about the debt, which I assume he approached her in an aggressive way because of
Yeah.
how others reacted.
Hey, man, where's my fucking
Yeah.
money? Where's my motherfucking
Bitch.
money?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
said that
Yeah,
Mark
the bitchin'.
was apparently like, fuck you, this isn't happening. So he went and approached him
What a G,
with
man.
the same aggression, okay?
Good. What
When
a fucking hero.
that happened, Don Forrester pushed them all in there, And he has the guns out, and then all those other guys come in, and it
escalates.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
So in his interview, Don Forrester talks about how he was stabbing one of the girls. He can't remember who or what or when, but like this is what makes it
but
so.
that matches with
Yeah, because she was stabbed.
And and his knife fucks up, and he loses the fucking blade.
He claimed to that. He said that.
Important part.
He says that he had stabbed one, and had a .38 gun, and shot 2 more.
Okay.
Later on, Forrester's ex-wife at the time of the crime, they were married.
Right.
She claims he took her back to the crime scene to pick up those shell casings.
You have to, like, kill and dispose of 4 bodies and then go get your wife and then go back to the scene and pick up
You have
shell
plenty of
casings
time.
and-
Like, this is...
And this is what people were talking about was like a error, I guess, in this theory, was because why would they go back to the crime scene before the bodies had been found? And this is only a 2-day span. It said that they went back to the crime scene the next day to pick up those shell casings.
I think that's not... You
No,
wouldn't
because
go back.
they opened the restaurant the next morning.
So for me, I'm like, why? This theory doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, here's the other interesting part. When investigators first started interrogating Don Forrester about this case, they brought him into a crime room where there were crime scene photos all around the room. So he was able to see everything that happened. If he was innocent in this murder, he would know the whole story. The investigators brought him into a room where there were crime scene photos from Burger Chef to the fucking bodies. How they were laying,
Just
the knife.
right there for him to look at. Like, posted
Everything.
all around. You shouldn't
That shouldn't have done that. He's
So-
just a boy.
We're going to talk about a key witness,
Okay.
eyewitness in this really quick. We're going to talk about someone new.
Oh,
Ginger Anderson.
Ginger, fuck her.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, Ginger.
Honestly, fuck her. So Ginger Anderson was actually scheduled to work that night in place of Mark. She called Mark to ask if he could cover her shift, and Mark was like, yeah, I'll do that for you, blah, blah, blah. Because Ginger was going to go on a date with this boy named Brian, okay?
Okay.
Mark called her like the day before and was trying to back out of it. Okay, this is important because some people believed that Mark knew what was going to happen at the Burger Chef and wanted to back out of it because people thought that his brother could be involved in this
Is
case.
it because he's black?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. That's why I don't go into this theory a lot, because there's no evidence at all to back this up. Mark's dad, this is something I found like kind of sad. Mark's dad noted in an interview during the 70s how Jane once told him when he went through the drive-thru there how she loved Mark and he was her protector. Kind of sad that after this murder had happened, like, his father found that to be so...
It's almost soothing.
Yeah. That he brought it up again in an interview after the murders had happened.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
My
that
son
makes
did
more
this.
sense for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about...
Fuck Ginger.
Oh, wait. Ginger Anderson. We're going to talk about what happened that same night, and Ginger's testimony about this. Her witness.
All right.
What she saw.
What
First of
she
all...
saw.
Yeah.
She wasn't there.
Exactly. First of all, this bitch made Mark cover her shift at the local Burger Chef. And then, when she's on her date with her boyfriend Brian, drives past the Burger Chef. Okay? When they drive past the Burger Chef, they're like, oh, it kind of doesn't look like normal. So they know that the lights on the outside were turned off.
Okay.
But the lights on the inside were on.
We're on. As others stated.
have. Yes.
Which is, to me, completely normal.
Makes
if you're
it accurate.
closing.
They also noted that the back door was open. Brian, which is Ginger's boyfriend at this time, right? He was the one who was driving, and he was the one who was like, why does it look kind of weird right now, right? So Brian is like, we should really tell someone about this to Ginger. And Ginger is like, well, I agree, but I have to get home at like this certain time, blah, 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 her parents or whatever. So Brian goes and drops Ginger off. And Brian is the one who goes to the burger chef and calls the manager. He goes inside this burger chef.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow.
He goes inside this burger chef. A kid goes inside. He goes in. He calls the manager on the burger chef phone. And he's like,
and
nobody's
he's like
here.
seeing no one's around.
Yeah, he's
but the
like-
lights are on inside.
Because he
And the
told-
back door's open.
Yes.
This is total Johnny vibes. It's not even funny.
Yeah,
It
for
is.
real. For real.
And that manager calls the police. So, going back to props to Brian, because if he didn't call,
Brian.
they wouldn't have said anything until the morning.
Brian's like, I might get murdered, but it's okay.
It's fine.
Well, it's probably
Right?
the last
I'm
thing
saving
on
Burger
his fucking
Chef.
mind. He was probably like, this shit's just weird. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
rubbing
weird.
me
It's
right.
not right.
Like, I'm going to
Yeah.
stop and check it out.
So, we're going to jump back to Don Forrester.
Okay.
Prosecutors had access to the tape that I had reference to, stating like the stuff where he talks about the knife and that kind of shit. And they still chose not to prosecute. The reasoning? Mr. Forrester was already serving a 99-year sentence.
So what? So what?
And I also want to state that Don Forrester confessed to this crime twice and also took it back twice. So he's very, all over the place.
And again, you have to remember that they took him into that room that was covered in crime scene
Yep.
photos.
So next we're going to get into the Speedway bomber theory. There would be a 6-day bombing spree in September of that same year. So a couple months before the Burger Chef murders happened. And this bombing spree, people kind of used it as a scapegoat for this crime. Okay?
Bombing spree.
Yeah.
That's the words she's using.
What
So-
a wild thing.
Yeah. It was 6 different locations in Speedway, Indiana. A school, the place right across Burger Chef.
So
different
we're
places
talking
like
this
that.
is all localized?
Mhm.
Do we know how big this town is? What's
Speedway-
the population of this town?
It said the population was 12,640 people.
That's so tiny.
It is.
Okay, and now
But
there's
it's bigger than
bombings.
It's bigger than
Mhm.
our town, though.
12,000 people, and there's
And
bombings
also-
and murders and all
Yeah.
kinds of psycho
I
shit.
get that.
And it had a racetrack there, so that brought in even more people. It was said on Friday that Jane had actually called her boyfriend at the time, and the conversation of the bombing person had come up. This is important because Jane says to her boyfriend, allegedly, that she said that one of her employees told her that night that she had saw Brett Kimberlin, who they thought was the bomber at that time. But what's funny about this is that his picture had not been posted anywhere.
Who's Brett Kimberland?
This is Brett Kimberlin.
He looks an awful lot like
He looks
one of
like
those
my
guys,
ex-husband.
Yeah,
though. A little bit.
a little bit. But at the time that this murder happened, his picture was not released, so there's no way that the employee would be like, I saw Brett Kimberlin. And
Or that they
he
would
was the-
associate it
Yeah.
with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Brett Kimberlin lives in a huge mansion nowadays. He has 13 animals. He has kids and a wife. And he was in prison for 15 years over the bombing cases that happened in Indiana at
I'm
this
sorry,
time.
he was in prison for how long?
15 years. But to this day, he still claims his innocence on the bombing, on the Burger Chef murders. There was a bombing right across the street from the Burger Chef. It blew
So
up.
they think these bombings were connected somehow to the Burger Chef.
Yeah, they think that he killed those kids. At that point in time when the Burger Chef murders happened, this guy was a known pot dealer. He was selling large quantities of pot. In police world, this could make him more of a suspect because he was willing to go that extra mile. And it said he didn't have any problems with the law or anything,
I
even
don't
involving
think- So
pot.
how is he involved in a murder?
Exactly.
Quadruple murder.
He didn't have any run-ins with the law until the bombing. And for him to still claim his innocence years later I think it just solidifies this story. So now, we are now getting into the eyewitness theory.
Okay.
Alan Pruitt.
Sounds like a douche. Oh, yeah.
He looks like a douche.
So we're going to start with Alan Pruitt's altercation with Jimmy Fruit.
Can't wait to hear who the fuck that is.
Fruit. I don't know his name. But Jimmy is Jane's brother, if anyone forgot. Alan Pruitt had an altercation with Jane's brother, Jimmy.
Okay.
Apparently, it goes as follows. Alan had confronted Jimmy and asked if he was the one who got his sister and those other kids killed. So that's just kind of a funny little tidbit about Alan. Alan is the only person that was proven to be at the Burger Chef the night that this crime happened.
How? I hate him.
He goes to Dunkin' Donuts with his friend David Adams. Okay. David and Alan are drunk. They're like, shit, we want to go get more alcohol.
Oh, damn. Me too.
Where do we go? He kind of feels sick and he's like, I got to go outside for a minute and get some fresh air. Okay.
So he's that drunk.
Yeah. Like he's drunk.
He's like, I'm not trying to get a coffee.
No.
Or
David
donuts.
is trying to get a sandwich. Okay. David needs a goddamn
sandwich.
He needs some food.
But he needs a greasy sandwich.
Yeah. So when he goes outside, well, that was like the initial thing. They were going to go to Burger Chef because they wanted that greasy food.
Yeah.
But it looked like it was closed. When he goes outside to get some fresh air, he hears racket outside of the Burger Chef. Okay?
Racket.
Burger Chef's lights were off on the outside, but the lights were on the inside. He claims, okay, think about that van that we were talking about earlier.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
Isn't it? He claims he saw a white van outside. He saw white wheels, and that he claims, quote unquote, he could never get this out of his mind because they looked fucking stupid.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
Fucking stupid.
Fucking stupid.
I believe him.
That's why, the white wheels always stuck with him. He also saw a weird window on the side of the van, and it was like a small circle window. Okay? Small.
Yeah.
Alan thinks the driver looked like a man by the name of Jeffrey Reed and Tim Willoughby in the passenger seat.
And he happened to know them?
I guess.
Well, because they were all fucking messing around.
Wow.
Yeah. And these men would have been a part of this drug gang that would also be in affiliation with Jimmy, Jane's brother. He claimed Jeffrey grabbed the black boy by the neck and threw him, knocked him out, picked him up, and threw him in the back of the van. Alan's story changes a lot over the years, and at one point he thought he saw Jimmy Fruit, Jane's brother, as the driver. So that kind of just completely changes the entire narrative, right? Another time he also claimed he saw two black guys get out of a car. That put that spotlight back on Mark's brother, okay? So Pruitt was in and out of jail at this time. He passed multiple polygraph tests that the cops made him fucking take for this case, the Burger Chef case, because the police really thought that Pruitt had something to do with this. Alan Pruitt claims, so at 4 o'clock in the next day, so a Saturday, he says that he goes to a Dairy Queen, which is like a local hangout spot, and it's in that same area of Avon, Indiana, only a couple miles away from Speedway, Indiana. So you have Speedway, Avon, and then Johnston around here.
The general vicinity.
Yeah. So he says when he got there, he saw that same van, now the color orange, that he saw the night before at the Burger Chef. So he gets in this van. Okay? But at this point, we can't really fault him because the bodies haven't been found yet. So they still think like these kids are just like doing their own goddamn thing, right? So he gets in the van, and it is Tim Willoughby and Jeffrey Reed. And along with them is Mary Ann Higglebottom.
Wow.
All right, she's hot.
She's popular.
Yeah. When he gets in the car, he says that Mary appears to be high, and she kept rambling on about how they killed these kids, and they wanted her to shoot one so that she would be responsible too. At some point, they park this van, okay? Because she's just going on and on and on and on. And when they got out of the van, she looks at Alan, and she's like, you need to run because they're going to kill you too. So Alan fled the scene, and when he was running, he heard a gunshot. Tim Willoughby was supposedly dead at the time of this whole incident. Okay, so we're going back here. Tim Willoughby, apparently, he died in June of that same year. So that's months before November.
this even happened.
Yes. Mary was found dead and sealed in a barrel in June of that same year, okay? Tim's body has never been found to this day.
Oh, now we're going to like conspiracy shit.
So we're going to kind of talk about Ginger Anderson a little bit again, just because of her accounts that could tie Jimmy to this story again.
Okay.
So Ginger Anderson claims that Burger Chef was a drug drop, quote unquote, and it happens in the bathrooms. Ginger claims that Jane's brother, Jimmy or James, would often come to the Burger Chef, and Jane would leave with him, and they would go off for a while, and she would come back, and she would be, like, obviously high. Ginger also recounts that Jane was kind of an angry person and wasn't always the nicest to her workers. She would get into Ginger's face and be like, don't tell anyone I'm leaving right now, or, you know, like, kind of stuff like that. Like, she didn't want people to know that she was a manager. So she didn't want people to know she left.
Fair.
And came back, you know?
Fair.
Ginger Anderson believes that this was a drug trade that had gone bad. That was like her account of what could have happened with this whole case. But nothing really makes sense. When Jane's car was dusted for fingerprints, the only DNA that matched that same DNA that came off of her car door was a friend of Mark's brother. Mark's brother would also go on to commit armed robbery a few years after this event occurred.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's so
random.
Yeah.
Like, I know you can't see me, but, like, it's so, like,
it just keeps going more and more and more. Like,
how fucked up was this? Like, that's... I just... Wow. We're going one direction, and now we fucking steer hard fucking left, and we go...
Which is why this case isn't solved to this day.
I mean, that's fair.
Another key eyewitness to this case is Jean Bland. I just found her testimony to be interesting because she claims that she was driving by with her husband at the night of this murder, and they saw a single file line of those kids walking into a van. She claims that no one would talk to them about what they witnessed. They would call the cops, and when anniversaries would come up of this murder, like the 10-year, 20,
I believe her.
And nobody would talk to them.
Yep.
So I know that we've talked about Mark Flemons and kind of just the sad stuff that resolved around his case, that he wouldn't have been there that night. But Daniel Davis actually wasn't supposed to be there that night either. And he had called his mom to ask if he could stay later because he was only 16 at the time and he couldn't stay past like 10 o'clock for the law at that point.
Yep.
And he called to ask if he could help close because he wanted that extra money for Christmas presents, which is so sad.
That makes my heart.
So now we're going to get into my theory. This isn't my theory, but this is a real theory that I feel like this is the theory.
That she
like
tried
this
to claim
happened.
as her own.
Yeah. I'm sorry, allegedly. No, but I feel like this is what happened.
Okay.
This is what I feel.
Tell me.
This is the 40-year-old secret theory. Tim Boyer. This is the guy who claimed that claimed that the racetracks were awesome because of the tits and ass and weed and booze.
TNA.
Yes.
Bitch.
So Tim Boyer would go to the racetracks constantly during the summers of the 70s. Jeffrey Reed is the same guy from Alan's story. He's the same guy that Alan says he saw that night at the Burger Chef, okay? Tim Boyer was very close friends with Jeffrey Reed. Tim noted he could be a teddy bear one minute and could beat someone up the next. The van was miscolored over the years due to lights reflecting off of the color. Dark, orange from the light, yellow from the light inside the restaurant. A yellow van with a red primer was owned by Jeffrey Reed. So out of like all of the accounts, the people, so we had that very first one with Don Forrester, blue van. Okay, then we go into Alan, who says white van. Tim Boyer says that Mr. Jeffrey Reed came and confessed to him one day. This is what the 40-year-old secret is.
Tell me.
Jeffrey confessed to him in private 40 years ago. He claims Jeffrey drove by, saw Jane's car in the parking lot at the Burger Chef, knew she owed some money for all that cocaine,
All those 8 balls.
and stopped. I just watched this documentary. It's amazing. You guys should go check it out. It's on Hulu. They showed people from the case from 40 years ago, to like this day, showed them pictures of him along
And
with
everyone's like, yeah, that's the guy.
yes. They
Okay.
all pointed to Jeffrey Reed.
Which kind of fits
And-
the fucking bill for the bearded
So-
guy.
Here's this guy. I know it's not the greatest picture, but it's the only one I could get of him. Bearded guy. They look very similar.
Yeah.
Jeff told Tim that when he was trying to collect Jane's debt, an individual ran at him. Mark. Okay, this is Mark. When Mark ran at him, he punched him.
Mark, who was the black kid, who was like, no, you're not going to fuck with her on my watch.
Look at how
Yes.
this kid was very lean. So Jeffrey claims that he started panicking and thought that he had killed Mark.
So then what? He did this whole thing?
Yeah. And he tells Tim Boyer that the adrenaline started to kick in. He saw the kids watching from the inside of the Burger Chef. So when Jeffrey knocked him out and thought he killed him and was panicking about it, he looked up, he saw all those kids watching, and he walked inside, said that he put them all in the cooler at first. While this is happening, he calls somebody else in this fucking drug gang shit. He's panicking about Jane's car. This is kind of like important evidence to this case because that's kind of something that's unknown.
Well, yeah, and it was
So-
parked right outside
Yeah.
the
Police department. So he calls the gang and
And
he's
she
like,
had the keys in her pocket.
yeah. And he's like, we need to move this car. So it looks like they left for the day. So people come and they move her car. Tim Boyer says when Jeffrey was talking to him about this whole situation, he didn't really know if somebody was trying to escape or if somebody tried to attack him. But at some point when he was trying to drive them off into the woods and drop them off, because that was his initial plan. I'm going to drop you guys off in the woods, drive away. Somewhere along those lines, somebody was trying to escape or somebody was trying to attack Jeffrey. And then Jeffrey and Timothy Willoughby killed the rest of the kids. Tom Boyer would also state, this is a direct quote, "The number one killer in America is people meddling in others' business."
Oh, what a piece of shit.
So they've never been convicted of this crime.
No, Jeffrey Reed has never been convicted. Actually, though, he was arrested in 1986 for an unrelated crime. The lead investigator on the Burger Chef case came to where Jeffrey Reed was, took him to a hotel, got him breakfast, kind of like
Yeah.
smothered him up,
Yeah.
you know?
Boozing him
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Fucking be like, yeah,
Um,
man.
The lead investigator told him he was retired at the time. He wasn't. And he accused him of the Burger Chef murders, and he wanted to know what Jeffrey Reed was going to say.
Or if he knew anything.
Yeah, he didn't read him or his rights. He just said that he wanted the closure. Like, he just kept talking it down, right? So this whole meeting, they're talking and whatnot, and Jeffrey Reed never says a word. A word. He never says anything during the whole conversation.
So he knows something.
The investigator said that he gave him a ride after the conversation to a destination that Jeffrey Reed needed to be dropped off at, and he said he never saw him again. The investigator said he felt they were really, really close to solving this murder, and unfortunately, they didn't have the forensics to back it up. The investigator on the case that worked on the case for like 40 years said in his, like, the ending part of his interview that he was, like, tearing up and crying. It was sad, but it was
For
true.
sure. His whole life's work.
Yeah, he said it's not fair for the family members not knowing. The current lead investigator believes this case is still solvable and still wants the opportunity to hold someone accountable.
Someone will talk.
And just like another quote I want to end this on is Ruth's sister, so the girl who was excited to turn 18, she says in an interview at the end of it, "You're supposed to find the bad guys. That's the way the movies are supposed to end." That's what Ruth's sister ends with. So, it's sad. But that's what I got. Like, this story has so many loopholes, and I'm
way
sure
more in depth than I've heard this story.
Me too.
I'm sure there's more that I didn't even cover. To be still unsolved 40 years later is insane.
I agree.
It's crazy, and I feel like it's sad. So my question to you guys is, who do you think, after hearing all those theories, who do you think killed the kids?
Honestly,
There's a ton of suspects.
yeah, there's a lot. But my big thing is, we heard multiple times that people drove by and they saw the back door propped open.
Yep.
So when I worked in fast food and I was the manager, that was a number one rule that we were not ever allowed to do. I was actually just talking to John about this today. My specific restaurant that I managed was in a very high
Risk neighborhood.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
we were very explicitly told that
You're not
People-
allowed to even open the outside
you
doors
were not
at all.
allowed to go outside. And if you
Yeah.
went outside, somebody followed you and they locked the door after you. You were on your own once you went outside. No door was ever to be propped open,
Nope.
ever. Like, that was did it happen? Yes, people did it. They didn't follow the rules, but in the whole grand scheme of things,
Guidebook,
it was
like-
not allowed
Yeah.
to happen. And maybe it was because of this. I never even thought of that, but it probably was.
So I am going to end it on this note. I just want to say that Jane Frett, Mark Flemings, Ruth Shelton, and David Davis, they were remarkable kids trying to get some money to go do kid shit.
Trying to be responsible, trying to do the right thing.
Excited to be 18, to be an adult, excited to get
It's
Christmas
just a party,
presents.
man.
Yeah.
What were you doing at that age?
No.
Not shit like they were.
No. So we got Ruth, who's excited to be 18. We got David, who's excited to get Christmas presents for his family.
Yeah.
We got Mark, who's excited to go to the galaxy with his best friend Kirk. So these
And
are
just-
all just kids that were excited to be kids.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying, is that they were just kids, man.
And to be that age and to go to work, to go to school, go to work, do all that shit, that's a lot of stress. And I have a lot of respect for those kids, and I really hope in the next year or so that we solve this case.
That would be wonderful.
I hope that the Speedway police are also held accountable for their lack of actions
Well, that's
for
not
this
gonna
case.
happen.
I feel like it's very hard to talk about these kind of cases because we talk so much about the fucking people who are suspected of killing these kids, and these kids were people before this happened. So bring more awareness to these kids. Bring more awareness to who they were as individuals. You can go follow us at thepoisonteaparty.com. You can email us at thepoisonteaparty@gmail.com if you guys have any more theories about this case.
Yeah, I'd like to know what you think.
If you want to be a member with us, you can go to the patreon.com/thepoisonteaparty.com. Rest in peace to the Speedway murders. I hope you find peace wherever you are. And with that, we end this on You've Been Poisoned.